and welcome to EngageU, TAR's podcast dedicated to educating, empowering, and elevating those in the real estate profession. I am Lisa Nutt, your host. Today I am joined by Sean Cody, our Director of Government Affairs, and one of our countywide endorsed candidates, Mike Jette, for County Attorney.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Mike, you just met with our Home and Property Advocates Committee, and you talked a little bit about experience matters. Tell us, for our members who don't know much about you, tell us a little bit about your background and how you're going to apply that experience to the position of being the next Pima County Attorney.
Well, thanks, Sean, for probably the easiest softball question of all time. So I am a career prosecutor of 17 years. I started off as a deputy county attorney in Santa Cruz County, and then moved my way up to assistant attorney general here in Tucson. And then from there, I was selected to go to become an assistant U.S. attorney at DOJ here in Tucson. The capstone of my career was the Department of Justice selecting me to go overseas to create the rule of law institutions, like setting up prosecution offices, working on cases of gender-based violence and terrorism. And I traveled in Pakistan and did a little bit in Philippines and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. And how that applies to the position of county attorney, well, unfortunately, currently our county attorney is a disaster currently. And so you've got attorneys who are fleeing, you have prosecutions that are being declined. And so what you need is to have an attorney, a prosecutor with historical legacy of prosecution come in and change the leadership in that office, because you have a current county attorney who's never been in trial, who's been a defense attorney her entire career, and now we have a 3.5-year report card. And if we look at empirical data, that's empirical data. So we definitely have a decline in prosecution of cases of property and burglaries and robberies and deed frauds and things like that. There is a little bit. So for the audience, that's fine. Just let the audience know I'm just not having a fit. I'm just that literally is a fly around.
There is, a buzzer buzzing around.
So obviously the most experienced candidate in the race, maybe subjective, but
I think it's objective. So, I mean, I've handled cases from burglaries to homicides, white collar, public corruption. Every single case under the statute I have handled. She has never done a prosecution. So when you look at objectively, yes, I'm the most experienced candidate in the race.
You mentioned attorneys fleeing the office. What about your experience managing large offices and employees, and a little bit more specifically?
Lucky for me, I've been a supervisor throughout my career as a prosecutor, and then culminating in setting up offices overseas in third world countries, where your whole job is it's a rule of law institution. So you have to hire and train and mentor prosecutors, and our focus was on diversity type of hires, which is women, especially in Pakistan, where it's a patriarchal system. So you can imagine how difficult it is to attract women into that legal field, especially prosecution, where there is threats of violence, there is blood money, there is all these other peripheral consequences that we don't have here in the U.S. And so it was challenging. So now come back to the U.S., I didn't think I would have to use that kind of skill set here to rebuild the Pima County Attorney's Office.
And so your role as Pima County Attorney, how do you envision that? And certainly you've indicated a bit about the state of crime and public safety in our community, but how do you plan, or what is your vision for some of those reforms? So beyond the human resources, what else does the office need?
Well, just like with any institution, it's only as good as its leadership. And so I think with sound leadership, you're going to attract talent. But also, it's just a basic rule: do your job. And so a lot of people also, the county attorney's office has the obligation for crime, but they are the attorneys for the board of supervisors and other county agencies. So we offer, the county attorney's office gives significant advice in leadership for the county, and so it defends on tort cases, gives advice, and so you have to have a county attorney who has that experience. And so you attract people who say, now we have a new leader, I want to work for the county attorney. And so unfortunately we've lost some deputy county attorneys. Hopefully maybe we've returned back, but I come with my own network of people who have the skill set to come into the knock on wood, it took her 3.5 years to effectively destroy the office. I hope I can turn this around quicker than 3.5 years. So, but even I can pick up a file and do a case if need be.
Okay.
Private property rights obviously fundamental to the well-being and health of our community. Talk to us a little bit about how you'll prioritize the enforcement of private property rights.
Look, I think everyone knows. I mean, I'm obviously in the Tucson Association of Realtor podcast. So, but this is not because I've got an audience that I'm aware of. I strongly believe in private property rights. I mean, we work our butts off to have homes and cars, and so in some of these assets, and when they get violated, if someone steals from us or takes our car, takes our belongings, threatens the peace and security of our neighborhoods, it's alarming. We work so hard for this, and so they're infringing upon my private property rights. And so you hope to have a county attorney who says, complain to me because I'm going to look into the case, I'm going to investigate the case, and if need be, I will prosecute the case. That's all we want from a county attorney, is to do that, because we work so hard. The last thing you want to do is, all you want to do is to come home from a day's work. I'm not this way, maybe it's a glass of wine for me, but some people pop up a beer or whatever it is. Stay away from the old fashions, but all you want to do, I think that bug just flew into my house. I think the bug, baby.
That's Dutchwick.
I was about to suggest, why don't you just let it move
all
on?
you want to do is to be relaxed and be secure and have your family, raise your family in a place where you call your own. So I'm all in that. And the home is the number one item that people buy, and the car is number two. And both those items are targeted by people who are criminals. They target places where you have your stuff. They have your peace of mind. So.
And on that front, one issue that I have particularly taken an interest in is related to deed fraud. And we have spearheaded several stakeholder meetings here at the association with regards to that issue. Because there are things that we can do locally, at the county level, at the statewide level, and then of course federally. So what can you share with us about what you know about deed fraud and what practices you see we could implement that would help safeguard arguably our largest asset?
Well, you guys do not know this, but I prosecuted 2 deed fraud cases at the Attorney General's office. So it's not an uncommon case to prosecute, to investigate and prosecute, and I've been successful in both of those cases. And so you just need to have an experienced prosecutor willing to take those cases on, because once you knock a few of them, it becomes an exemplar for everyone else who thinks they are going to, flank the system. And so you have to make it an example of people who do that kind of fraud, because it undermines the foundation of the institution. So anything that undermines our foundation is alarming. It goes from public corruption to deed frauds, whatever it is, it undermines these institutions. And coming from Pakistan, institutions are the most important thing we have in this country. The government is less important than the institutions. These frameworks we have this entire buying a home process, and if someone interferes with this because they're committing a fraud, it creates a chilling effect on the entire industry. So we don't want that. We want a robust system, and we know if something happens, you have an investigation and a possible prosecution if need be. That's what you want.
Kind of piggybacking on that a little bit. We have members, private property owners, particularly our property managers and landlords, dealing with unwanted occupation of their properties and the challenges of removing vagrants, or even with evictions, what should be standard eviction processes. Talk to us a little bit about what your perspective on that and how you would proactively engage on that issue.
Well, I think criminal trespass is criminal trespass, and so if someone is an unwanted guest, is criminal trespass. And so being someone in a vacant home is not necessarily a burglary, because you have to commit a felony within. So just being inside the home is a criminal trespass, but still that's a crime. And if he's a chronic offender, there's things we can do. I mean, I think the first time we do that, you have law enforcement, hat, badge, gun, baton guy comes out there and takes care of it. So you guys shouldn't have to take care of it, but you have law enforcement, and then you give them what we call a mulligan. It's like, don't come here again. I have no idea a year, maybe there was some distressful thing, maybe he goes on drugs, whatever it is, but you give him a mulligan. But if he comes back as a repeat offender, then we start getting a little bit more serious about the consequences of what happens. And so people need to learn that you just can't camp out wherever you want to camp out, because these are people's homes and assets and property, and they value those things, and maybe it's up for sale or whatever. It's also a danger to someone who's like showing that bug in my throat is just killing me. But it's a danger to people. I think I was laughing at my pain. I laughing at my pain. But when someone's showing a home, if someone's in the home, that's a startling. Because when you go, I'm assuming my realtor did this. When they show me a home, they're there before I get there. Mm-hmm. And so if someone's entering that home to get ready for me to come view it, boom, you're startled, and especially if man on female, I mean man on woman, mm-hmm. or not on. That's hold on, reverse track, weird mm-hmm. statement. All I'm saying, if there is a situation there, we have definitely a power play. You've got a threat, and that is a danger. And then now you've got realtors who are reluctant or scared, and you don't want them. You want them on the road, drinking their cup of coffee, thinking about how the best sales pitch is to sell this home. The last thing you want them to think is, do I need to have a mace, baton, a gun, or whatever it is? It's the last thing you want. Right? So
that realtor safety issue is just becoming a huge issue, even beyond just vacancy issues, right? But well said. I mean, you touched on it.
What would you want us to remember about your time as Pima County Attorney?
Well, I hope you guys are passed away by the time I'm Pima County Attorney. That guy is still in office. That guy is still in office. No.
Longest serving Pima
Longest serving Pima County.
Not a proponent of term limits, obviously.
Crime is always that empirical stat, which is great. I mean, reducing crime, but Pima County Attorney has really no impact on crime, because we're the reactionary force. Mm-hmm. We're the ones that are called in after a crime has occurred. So what I want to be known for is that I come to organizations, institutions like the TAR, or if you even talk about the NAACP or whatever institutions that measure their constituents and how their constituents feel about their environment, their livelihood, and the place they live. And I want everyone to think this has been just a golden era in Tucson. I mean, we had a hiccup there for some reason, but now we pivoted and we went rocket fire into prosperity. Home values are going up. Businesses want to come here. We have now stopped the fentanyl, the importation, at least through this area, and that guy was really, empathetic and human to people who are addicted to drugs and stuff, and we give care and treatment the way they need to be. And so that's what I want is homicide. I can't, it's just really, you just can't say I want homicides to be down by 30%. We all do. I mean, that's ridiculous. We all do. But I think if you have a growing environment, a growing community, I would love to come to the Board of Supervisors and say I need 30 more prosecutors, because Pima County is no longer 1.1, it's 1.8, or it's 2 million people. I mean, that's what we want. So that's how I would remember for versus this little that thing is like.
You don't want to be remembered for the gnat that flew into.
This is going to happen. It's just going to be a meme now. It's going to be a meme now. Great, super.
There will be a blooper roll.
It's gonna be a blooper roll. Holy cow! I'm like tearing up with this.
The actual.
Put the whole thing on there. I'm fine. I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable.
You want to take a break?
No, I'm fine.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah.
Because you've just got one more question to get through.
So you've gone through the gauntlet of the TAR endorsement process. You received the endorsement of the Elections Task Force. Talk to us a little bit about what that means to you and your campaign.
What it means is I'm supported by a diverse group of people and institutions, and we always think of the groups of the Dems and the Republicans. We really need to get away from that, because this job should be a nonpartisan position. What you want is these groups of people like TAR and NAACP and all these other organizations. They look at who's the best candidate for their constituents. Who is the best candidate, regardless of party. And we don't care about, this job should not care about Republican or Democrat. It should not. Just for the audience sake, as I'm a pro-choice and I've never prosecuted a person for having, or a woman, a doctor for having an abortion. Holy cow, that's definitely gonna be on a blooper reel. So, but I
can't apologize enough. But it is gone.
You saw that
bought
thing.
it.
I ate it.
I saw it.
I ate it. This is what I'm gonna do for this community. This is what I'm gonna do for this community. I'm gonna clean this up. I'm gonna clean this up. But you know, the thing is, the important thing is we so much to get into these silos, and now we're in an election year, and then you get these things throwing Democrat, Republican stuff, and that's great. We all like to have our tribes. We all like to have our tribes. But more importantly, what really matters to be about base level is our immediate associations, the places we work, and our friendships in our neighborhoods. And that's the support I want, is people to know that. And I will be fair and equitable to people. I'm not that prosecutor to lock them up. We want people to come back into our society to, I don't know, buy homes. I was talking to Jim Click, which I don't know why I get the nastiness with, because Jim Click is a wonderful philanthropist in town, and the same thing goes with him. I want people to buy homes and buy cars, and those industries, those two industries, create so much prosperity within the community. I think they contribute, 30 to 40% of our economy. And for some,
Housing alone is about 25% of our GDP.
that was what I said over there, and someone questioned me, but I think it's 25%.
Well, I'm backing you up.
All right.
Yeah.
And I think cars is about 10%. I think the auto industries have done about 10%. And so these are enormous. And so what I hope is people look at me not as a Democrat or a Republican. I am running as a Democrat because I'm a pro-choice, pro-environmentalist. I got an environmental certificate in law school, and I'm definitely a pro-environmental. And we want a clean environment. We want clean water. Everyone. This is not a Republican or Democratic issue. We all want that. But what's sad is that, unfortunately, we look at this from a myopic point of view as a Democrat, Republican. This is a partisan thing, and that's reality. I just want people to know that I represent all Pima County. It doesn't matter who you are or what your political ideology is. I was an independent prosecutor. You guys do not know this, but I was an independent prosecutor because I dealt with public corruption, and you did not want your prosecutor. No one wanted the view that your prosecutor was somehow politically motivated. But I think that's about.
So if
I'm
people
really
wanted to
tearing up.
learn more
I'm
about
sorry,
you,
Pima,
Mike, yeah, they can go where?
I want to see this as
No, you don't.
like a hero kind of interview.
You grind
Because
it out,
I
you
grind this interview out. I
persevere,
grind this interview
right?
out. Regardless, you did not stop. You didn't ask me to stop. You just wanted to continue.
I did ask you.
You did ask
I
me.
did
I'd be
ask
100% fair. That's not right. I just now lied. You did ask me. You did ask me. But MikeJette.com, Mike MikeJette.com, and you'll learn all about my experience and things. And feel free to donate. I'm in a sprint mode now, and so any money, if you care about your community, if you look at the two prosecutors or two candidates who are running, one is a defense attorney and one is a prosecutor, and I have done deed fraud. I had the largest mortgage fraud case in Arizona during the whole crisis in 2008, 2009. And so, I mean, you look at someone with the girth of experience versus, so vote. If you can't vote in the primary, vote with your pocketbook. Invest in your future. I mean, that's the phrase I use, invest in your future. So,
Great. Thanks for joining us today, Mike.
thank you, Lisa.
Best of luck
Thank you.
in all ways, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
You bet.
Sean, thank you. I appreciate it.
I apologize.